Hi guys, Jordan from P&P Campers. I'm just going to be doing a handover video on this Carthago Chic. It's an E-line model and it is on the 2009 Fiat Ducato 3-litre chassis. I will show you through to the inside in a minute, but what I'll do first is I'll just show you under the bonnet and what we've got going on in there. So first thing, we've got the washer fluid over here on the left hand side. That's where you fill up your washer fluid from. The A-classes are a little bit tricky to sort of get to things, generally speaking, but we've got your washer fluid's over there, sorry. Engine coolant in that reservoir just there. You've got your engine oil from that filling point and your engine oil dipstick just there. Over towards the right, you've got your brake fluid up the top just there and the fuel filter next door to that. Air filter sits inside there, and your positive terminal for your engine battery is under that little cover just in there. See, that's just needs to go back on properly. A bit easier when I've got two hands in a minute, probably. Yep, there you go. So that is your positive terminal for the engine battery just there. Now the engine battery itself, the reason they give you a positive terminal under the bonnet is because the engine battery actually sits under the floor under this little inspection hatch. So it can be a little bit of a pain to get to if you're in a hurry. It's easy to get to if you're not in a rush and you want to replace the battery, it's easy. But if you're in a rush to jump start it, you might want to go under the bonnet to your positive terminal there. Bonnet release handle is that little handle just there inside this passenger door. It's actually the driver's door because it's the left-hand drive, but it's just there inside here. Oh, I knocked that with my arm. Right, so this is your gas locker next door to here. All right, your diesel filling point is behind this little cover here. But the gas locker itself sort of comprises of two different bottles. So you've got on the left-hand side, you've got the Gaslow refillable bottle. And on the right, we've got this standard 13 kilo bottle as well. So your refill point is just behind this little cover here. I'll get to that in just a minute. But basically what you've got is the option of either refillable gas or standard gas. So the plus side to that is that you can always replace this bottle here. If you cannot find anywhere at all that does refills for these gas bottles, you've always got the option of just replacing the bottle from somewhere that sells them. So that's why a lot of people go for this sort of option here. But basically all you need to do is turn the bottles on anti-clockwise round to the left will turn them on, and then you should have gas coming through to the inside of the van. If you don't have any gas coming through to the inside of the van, you have got a little button just there which you need to press in and hold for 3 seconds to allow the gas to purge its way through. And it does show you that on that little sticker at the back there. And what it is basically a crash sensor. So if it thinks that you've crashed, then it should isolate the gas from coming inside the vehicle. And every now and again it will think that you've crashed even if you haven't. So it might isolate it without you needing it to be isolated. Hence why you need to press and hold on that little button there. So that is the gas locker inside this one just here. As I say, I just literally bumped it with my arm when I walked up to it, so that's why it fell down. So this little locker here covers up the refill point for the gas. If I just undo this here, you can see now we've got the refilling point for the gas there. Now you will need an adapter of some sorts for whatever country you're going to be refilling this in. So even if you're filling it up in the UK, you will need the adapter for that. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little box of adapters inside this vehicle somewhere. I don't know exactly where it is, if there is one, but yeah, there should be. So we've got loads of storage underneath here and access to some of the pipe work here for the radiators because you've got Audi heating, and also these are the brackets and the fitting points for the external the rear seat belts here, so they'll be chassis mounted. Next one over, what's this here? A couple of square screws, a little bit of wiring in here, but just more storage space really in this double skinned floor area. Right, so this here, even though the toilet's on the other side, this is to do with the toilet, I believe. So it's a SOG unit. So this is basically a chemical-free system for these toilets so that you don't have to fill it up with the blue fluid so much. It means that when you open up the flap to flush the toilet, you will hear a little fan inside, and there will be a pipe on the cassette itself that sort of expels that smell and the kind of the bacteria that grows up inside. So that's what that does there. We've got your freshwater filling point just here underneath that. So that literally in and round to the right to put it to a stop, and then in and round to the left to open it up. It's a little bit stiff at the moment, needs a bit of a lubrication. We haven't done the habitation check just yet, so there you go. So towards the back we've got the smaller locker here to give you access to the garage. So this is the smaller side. So I'll show you this properly when we get into the other side, but this is just showing you here that this is another locker for the garage. All the locker doors are lined with carpet there, as you can see. So the bodywork on this van is absolutely unbelievably good. If you can see there just how shiny that is. Very, very good. So just here we've got your electric hookup inlet point. All right, so if you wanted to hook the van up for the electric power, that is where you would do that. And next door to that is our Audi heating vent. So if you have the heating on, you should feel hot air pumping out through the bottom of this. Your step comes in and out from this little switch just here. So if I show you that working. Nice and easy. More storage again under here. Not much else to show you apart from the fact that it is just storage. We've got an external gas point just here. So having a barbecue outside, if you were going to need gas on the outside for that, you can just basically pop it onto there like a little air fitting. And then twist this valve when you want it to be on. These two vents just here, sorry, just one vent, normally there's two, but this vent just here is to do with the fridge. So if you had the fridge lit up on gas, you should be able to hear a little bit of a flame noise inside there, but that's where the fridge sits. Yeah, okay, so next locker along is the toilet cassette locker. So as I said, we've got this pipe just here, which is the SOG unit fitting. So that must wake its way through to the other side somehow. But to remove the cassette itself, we lift up on the little orange handle here, pull the cassette towards us, and we'll then be able to sort of wiggle it out and get it to come out like so. All you need to know really, to be honest, is that you drain it out from here. So you undo this little cap here and drain the cassette from there. When you're draining it out, you should be holding down the little orange button, the circular button at the back. That's basically just a pressure release valve, and it'll allow it to come out nice and easily. And there we go. So I couldn't open the garage door completely because we are pretty well chocker in the site at the moment, but I'll just show you what we've got in here. So you've got the original carpets here. If you wanted to fit those back down, you can do. We've got an external hot and cold water point just there. So it will need a little hose attaching to that, but we'll probably do that as part of the hub check. Inverter here, which is plugged into that socket up there. If you wanted to power it up, you can do that and turn that on from there. The leisure batteries sit inside that little cupboard down there. So to remove that, you can just undo these little bits here, and then that'll give you access to the leisure batteries. Nice and easy. Other than that, that's about it really. Absolutely loads of storage throughout this garage. Yeah, not really much else I need to explain, to be fair, I don't think. So I'm going to get into the van now, but what I'll do first is just going to run you through this little hatch here in the floor. The reason they put this hatch here is because it's something that you really need good access to, because it's the fresh and the wastewater drain off points. So if you wanted to drain the fresh tank out, literally just turn this valve here so that it's in line with this these two pipes, and what it will do is it will start draining out the water from this drain just here, so you will need to take this cap off first before it will actually start coming out. All right, so that is the freshwater drain off point. So if I just show you that briefly, I'll just turn it just a bit. See the water coming out from there, so that is the fresh drain. The one next door to it looks a little bit funny, but I'll explain it. So the one next door to it is the wastewater drain off point, and the reason they've got that little bit there is so that you can actually drain it out through a pipe. So if you wanted to drain it out to a specific place, you can put a little bit of pipe onto there and it will drain out wherever you want it to go to. And that's just by turning the wastewater handle instead. Right, so just dry my feet off a little bit. So as I mentioned, it is a left-hand drive vehicle. So in the cab, we've got pretty much the highest spec that you can get on this kind of vehicle, to be fair. You've got the blinds in the cab, so the blinds will come all the way around, including the windows as well, so you've got blinds all the way around. You've got the ASR switch on here, which they don't all have. I think it's to do with the traction control stuff again. Air conditioning from this little switch just here, and your heater controls either side. You've got your double DIN sized head unit up here, so that's a nice modern head unit there, Pioneer. You've got the 6-speed manual gearbox there as well, which is always nice. Over on the left hand side, you've got a switch just there on the right, which is for the stereo, so make sure that you turn that switch off when you're finished with it. The middle switch is to bring the step in from the cab, so if you wanted to do that from in here, you can do it, so you haven't got to walk over there and do it from the button over there. And the one on the left is your mirror heater, so you can adjust the mirrors from this little thing on the door, but if you wanted to put the heated mirrors on, you can do that from the big green switch there. So, probably the next thing to show you and run you through is going to be the sort of control panel area. So the control panel itself is really, really simple. So all you've got, sorry, this thing's going to be a bit tricky for me to, unless I can take it out. Nope. So you've got a main power switch on the top right hand side, all right, which basically then just gives you power to the majority of the 12 volt stuff inside the vehicle. You've got your lights on and off from this little bottom right hand one. Your regulator warmer is that one there, so that's if you in a really seriously cold climate and you wanted to keep the regulator, the gas regulator, from freezing up, you can press that button on just there. And this one here is your water pump. So turn that one on just there, and what it do is the pump, essentially what will happen is the pump will turn on and it will run until it gets to pressure. So if you find that the pump runs on and doesn't want to turn off, this is what you need to do. So come over to the tap just here and draw the water through on the cold side and then the hot, and turn it off. And if you've got enough water in your fresh tank, it should turn itself off. So let's have a little look at our fresh water level. 0% in the fresh tank, right. So that's a good example really. So what I've done there is your standard kind of procedure to getting the vehicle ready to use. So making sure that you've got water inside your boiler before you try lighting the boiler up, and making sure that your water system is up to pressure. So as you can see, our water system right now is not up to pressure, but the reason for it, as we quickly found out, is because we've got 0% in our fresh tank, and I know that by pressing the button here, bottom left, and it shows us the fresh tank level. If I press it again, it shows us the waste tank level, so that's 29%. The middle button is our leisure battery voltage and vehicle battery voltage, and the top one is the temperature inside and outside. So now that I know that the water tank hasn't got enough in it so that we can pressurize the vehicle, I've had to turn the pump off, because otherwise the pump would have just run on until we turned it off. So that's something to bear in mind. If you find that you don't have enough water in the tank, there's just no point in turning the pump on at all, because it won't turn itself off. So in this case, what we'd need to do to get this thing sort of pressurized and up to ready to go is fill the fresh tank up, put the pump back on, and then just draw the water through just exactly as I was doing there, but just wait for it to come through really nicely, no coughing, no spluttering, and then the pump should turn itself off. Okay, once that pump's turned itself off, you're good to go, you've got good pressure, and we know that everything's fully full and pressurized. So that is the idea behind that system there. The rest of it, the rest of this stuff up here, so this one over here you can ignore really, because that's just a battery voltage thing. This one to the right of it is your heating and hot water. So this is your Audi heating and hot water system. So basically all the time that you're on this sort of home screen here, it's just basically telling you the time, the date, and the temperature. So that's just basically telling you what's going on at that specific time. If I press menu, that's what gives us the actual options of what we want the boiler to do. So at the top, we've got a temperature dial. So if we want the heating to come on, we can put it up above the temperature that it thinks it is. So above 23. And then we have to choose whether we want it to work on gas or electric. So at the moment, I've only got the gas on. I haven't got the electric hookup plugged in at all. So I have to use it on gas. So I press the gas switch. So as long as that little gas thing there goes green and the temperature is above the temperature that it is inside the vehicle, the heating should come on, and basically the radiators throughout the vehicle will start to warm up. So these Audi heating systems work exactly the same way as a household heating system does, where it actually has physical radiators around the vehicle. It heats water up and pumps that hot water around to them. So after about half an hour or so, you'll feel the van really, really quickly warming up. If we want to use the hot water, we use 1 or 2 on the little hot water symbol. And again, after about half an hour or so, to maybe an hour, you'll have really, really nice hot water coming through the taps. So that is how you would use the 2 options on the boiler. But now how do we use the electric option? So if we had the electric hookup cable plugged into the van and we wanted to use the electricity rather than the gas to either heat the van up or put the water on, the hot water, all you need to do is select 1, 2 or 3 kilowatts, and basically what it will do is it will choose, it'll start drawing a certain amount of power from the electric hookup. Now obviously if you draw more power, so if you're on 3 kilowatts, it's going to draw more power from your electric hookup. And I will say, like I always say about these Audi heating systems, if you use 3 kilowatt on an Audi heating system, you're going to be drawing about 12 amps straight away. So if you go to a campsite and they give you a 13 amp pole or post to plug into, and you put your heating and hot water onto 3 kilowatts and it starts drawing 12 amps straight away, you've then got 1 amp to use before it will trip. Yeah, so if you think about it, if I put this fridge on mains, that's going to draw an amp. So you'll be at your maximum power level. The battery charger will be on as well, so that'll be about half an amp probably. And so you're going to trip the power with pretty much anything else on. All right, so I just never ever recommend using it on 3 kilowatt. Use it on 1 or 2. I think 2 draws about 8 amps. So even that's quite a lot, but still, it's not going to sort of not allow you to use anything else because of it. So that is how you would use that up there. So you've got a couple of bits up here. So you've got like there's like a barometer up there, just stuff that somebody's fitted at some point. Because you've got the wet central heating, the Audi heating system, you do have to keep an eye on this little water level inside this cupboard here. So if you find that water level just sort of disappears, then either give us a shout or somebody who deals with Carthagos, because they will need to do a flush and replace this. Well, it's actually coolant is what it is, but it will need replacing. So just keep your eye on that, make sure the level stays at a decent height. So, showing you the sink there, like so. Things are always more difficult with one hand, I've noticed. So we've got the 3-burner hob up here. So basically, you just literally choose which one you want to have on and then press on your ignition at the same time. Okay, and that'll light up whichever one you choose. Nice and easy. Below that, we've got the oven and grill. So this obviously needs a good clean through. It's not been cleaned yet. But basically, you've got push in and round to the right to light the grill up, or push in and round to the left to light the oven up. You've got a light inside there, and you've got the optional extra rotisserie part in there if you wanted to use that. Load of storage underneath there. Storage right the way throughout. Loads of overhead storage as well in here, to be honest. It's very, very good. Alright, so the fridge is probably the next part I need to show you. Let me just see if there's anything. So that is your fresh water tank. Yeah, so right, so the fridge, very, very simple to use. I'll just put that over. So this is a 3-way AES fridge. You see there it says AES. So AES basically means that it will choose one of the 3 options for you automatically if you have it down here on auto. So if I just do that quickly, put it down on auto, it should choose gas for us pretty quickly. And there you go. So that's exactly what it's done. So putting on automatic will just it'll just get the fridge to do your job for you. Basically, it'll choose whatever it thinks is right at the right time. So you've got the option of gas at the top, which is chosen, which is correct. 240 volt electric, which is your hookup, or 12 volt electric, which is whilst you're driving. So you have to get the fridge cold before you leave, no matter where you're going. So the 12 volt there, even though it's for when you're driving, all it really does is hold the temperature inside the fridge that you've already put into it. So basically, if you put this fridge on here, if you started the engine up now and selected 12 volt, that should go green when you do that, by the way, when you start the engine up. But if this fridge isn't cold already, which it isn't now, it will not be cold in an hour's time when you get to where you're going. So the 12 volt is purely for holding the temperature inside the fridge once you've already cooled it down. So to actually cool it down from warm, you either need to use it on the gas or the mains. So both of those will take a good sort of 3 hours or so to actually get the fridge cold, just so you're aware of that. That's the same on all the motorhome fridges. And then, as I say, you just switch over to 12 volt just for when you're driving, and then when you get to where you're going, you can switch back to one of the other 2. But that is how you would use this 3-way fridge. So the bathroom is all pretty self-explanatory, nice and straightforward. You've literally got the hot and cold tap for the shower, which all works really, really well. You've got the hot and cold tap for the sink there as well, and obviously the actual sink itself. The toilet is, well, pretty much the only thing I need to run through, really. Basically, all you need to know is that you press the blue button just there, and that'll pump around your flush fluid into the actual bowl itself. Go to the toilet, do what you need to do, and then to drain it out into the cassette, you push this little flap here to the right. That'll open up the flap and drain it into the cassette. And when you do that, that's when that fan kicks in for the SOG unit on the outside. So that's why, you know, you don't get any of the bad fumes coming back inside the vehicle. So there you go. So actually this is your fresh tank, I believe. So if you wanted to drain the fresh tank out onto the floor, like from here, like halfway, you can do it as another little valve just there, but the main fresh drain is over by the front door, like I showed you. So yeah, actually this is the fresh water tank, sorry, this is the fresh tank. And the other one here, this one here is your waste tank, which I should have noticed has got, yeah. So this is the waste tank, and that's because you've got the pipes going onto the top here. So all of your waste drains go to this tank. So this is your waste tank. sorry about that, obviously just got myself mixed up there. Waste tank here, fresh tank there. So you've got loads of paperwork for this vehicle as well. So if you wanted to have a little flick through that paperwork, it's all in this brown folder just here, absolutely loads of it. You've got your TV aerial and TV aerial booster in this cupboard here. So the booster comes on just with this little switch over in the corner, like so. And this is your standard sort of tilt and turn aerial. So you basically just undo this little thing here, push it up and twist it around until you catch a signal. And that's it, just a manual aerial basically. Really, really easy to use. The bedroom area is a really decent size actually. So you've got these kind of 6-foot beds here, TV in the back here as well. The door comes across just here, so you have got a little bit that you need to push out of the way in order to pull this across, like so. And that separates this back end from the front. And so because of that little bit up there, that won't fly around whilst you're driving. Yeah, I'm just trying to see if there's anything else that I need to run through. I don't think there is. If there is anything you think I've missed out or anything you want going over, just let us know. But otherwise, look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks very much.